Good evening and welcome to a special edition of Harmonics. Today's guest is a world-renowned author, traveler all around the world, Gabriella Van Rij. Welcome to my show, my dear. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
It is quite incredible to have you here today. You're just a ray of light, goes along with your name. But we're going to be talking about your book. We're going to talk about your life. So I want to get into it if that's okay with you.
Sounds good to me.
Good, good. Hey, you were a young child was raised in Pakistan?
Yes, the first 3 years I spent in an orphanage in Pakistan, in a little place called Rawalpindi. Today it's a huge city, I've been told.
Really?
Yes.
So you haven't been back there in a while?
I've never been back.
Interesting. So when you were living in that, would it be called a village or a city when you were a child?
Small city.
A small city. You were actually being taunted by some of your European classmates, and this is how this all developed?
No, it actually all developed. I'm born Muslim with a Muslim name called Naseem, and then the orphanage, because it was Catholic, changed my name into Gabriella. And then from there, 3 years later, I was one of the lucky ones, and I got adopted by a Dutch family. And so I moved to the Netherlands. I moved actually to Luxembourg because my parents kept moving because they're diplomats.
Okay.
And I would honestly say that from the moment I hit European soil, I've been known to be an outcast because in the 60s, nobody looked like me. Today, the world is diverse. We travel from all over the place. But not back then. In the 60s, nobody had a skin color. They were all tall, blonde, and blue-eyed.
So you actually you did encounter a little bit of bullying then too?
Bullying, but especially an incomprehension in acceptance, I would say. People would just not understand skin color, not understand that you actually speak another language. So the adaptation is always tough in the beginning. But children will be children. So for me, between the ages of 4 till about, I would say 6, we're okay because I kind of stood my ground.
Right.
I'm pretty persistent.
I could see.
But moving to Holland, for example, that kind of bullying was really horrendous because it was very humiliating to be bullied on a daily basis. That's why I want to speak about bullying.
And so they would kind of like strip your identity and not let you be who you were as a child?
I feel like that a lot of children have to conform. If you stand out, you often stand out because it's something in your uniqueness that another person picks on. So in my case, whether it's my height, whether it is my size, anything, funny accent, they pick on it. That's logical. But what is not logical is that I'm starting to learn when I was younger is you feel powerless when the bully attacks you. But as older as I'm getting, and we see bullying more and more, unfortunately, and we need to eradicate it, we need to help empower the victim to do something about it because they can. They're not as powerless as they think.
You know, let's go into bullying. How would you define bullying?
Good question. Bullying, for me, is an extreme form of meanness. And for any one of you listening out there, it really needs to be eradicated because you're picking on the uniqueness of the person. And to do the eradication, you need to understand that paralyzes absolutely the victim. And that's where the problem lies. And what we forget is that in all of this, we have 3 groups. We have the victim, we have the bully, and we have the bystander. And the bystander includes the educators, the friends, and the parents. Because there's also deniability going on. And we need to get all these 3 groups to help both the victim and the bully.
It's like a life triangle then.
Yes. We really need to understand that.
So when did bullying actually become a problem or a major issue? What has made this all of a sudden come to the forefront that we're all looking at?
Honestly, I think it's always been there. It's always been there. But we gave it a name, and we started being aware, and that already helped. But today we're so aware, and I think we're aware because of the suicide rate. Every 7 minutes, a child is being bullied in school, and those are the statistics we found during my tour, and every 30 seconds someone commits suicide.
How many seconds?
30 seconds.
Someone commits suicide.
If we were quiet for
sad.
30 seconds, can you imagine?
That would be a very interesting concept if we could actually do that. Take 30 seconds out of your life and appreciate or remember somebody who has been bullied.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. You know, let's go back to you in your own life.
Okay.
Give me one small example or an example of how you were actually bullied. I know you gave an example earlier, but tell me one incident that actually made you got bullied. How was that?
For me, when I moved, any child knows, when you move from country to country, it's always hard to adapt to a new class and a new language, and especially the culture. So when I moved from Belgium to Holland, I had to adapt a lot. And I wanted to make friends just like anyone does. And I had one friend in the class, and lo and behold, at a certain point, the class actually invited me to play on the playground. So I was really happy about this. And basically they ganged up on me. And what they did is they surrounded me, which is easy to do, 30 kids, and all taller than me. And I knew instantly something bad was going to happen. And they ripped off my clothes, basically. And that was, if the ground could swallow up a person, I would have done that. It's really funny because when I go to schools and I talk about this, I try to get the children, the students, to participate with me, how that would feel, and to recall the humiliation. Because they are very smart, the students today. They know humiliation. Unfortunately, children already know that. And I think this is where we're wrong. So for me, when I was in that situation, all I wanted is for it to go away as fast as possible. And I remember biting the inside of my cheeks because there was no way I was going to cry. No way at all. And so that was really tough to do. And in the end, and I write about that in the book, when all these things happen to you and you're fearful about them, you actually lose your own empowerment totally. Whereas we need to understand that the problem was not with me. The problem was with the class.
Yes.
And if you could make that switch, if we could actually teach self-esteem and not humiliation, I had nothing to be humiliated about. But it took 40 years later to understand that.
Yeah, you're innocent of all of that.
Exactly.
Do adults suffer bullying also?
Oh, greatly. I think we all do. There are two things with the adults, and for me, the adults that I know of living in Vancouver that get bullied the most, I would call it harassment within the workplace, and kind of switch words here. Immigrants. Because they want to keep their work permits. You know how it is. You don't want to rock the boat, and they ask you to do extra hours and a lot of things that are not normal, that they wouldn't ask a Canadian or an American to do.
Exactly.
So that's the kind of bullying I see. But there's another form. There are people out there that have been so badly victimized that become a bully in adulthood. And I think we forget that. So if you don't deal with these underlying issues that you have as children, you actually have, you create a bully later.
So what you're saying right there in a little small area of a person is beat up as a child by his parents or a friend, he might also morph into being a bully himself later on in life?
Yes, I asked someone actually who was a victim who said, I'm not nice at all now. And so I asked him and he said he was scared. He was perpetually scared. So if you are, then it's easier to be aggressive with everyone you meet because it kind of builds a wall, of course. But by being so aggressive, he didn't get any friends either. So,
yeah, they become lonely themselves.
Of course.
What would be the first step to actually eradicate bullying? How would we? To
eradicate bullying, to address that, for me, it's very simple. Awareness and education. The Bully movie. I don't know if you have seen it.
No, I have not seen it.
The last couple of days, we had heard that Tyler had his head shoved into a wall locker. They said he's a geek.
My concern is that you were making someone feel so uncomfortable that they didn't want to be in school.
I feel kind of nervous going to school because I like learning, but have trouble with making friends.
He said he was a geek. Some kids had told him that he was worthless, to go hang himself. And I think he got to the point where enough was enough.
Tonight, a tragic situation.
A Perkins boy, just 11 years old, believed to have been desperate enough to take his own life.
This is an awfully complicated and difficult issue.
Kids will be kids, boys will be boys. They're just cruel at this age.
Here what we get is nothing's wrong, we didn't do anything, everything's fine.
They punch me, strangle me, take things from me, sit on me.
Give it to him hard!
He's not safe on that bus.
I've been on that bus. They are just as good as gold.
My voice is not going to fall silent. I will go to my grave until a difference is made.
We reached out to parents that have lost kids, parents of kids that are being bullied all over the world, and it took off like wildfire.
All it takes is for one person to stand up.
Be the difference. Go out and find that one child, that new kid standing over there by himself. Be willing to stand up for him.
Everything starts with one and builds up. Eventually we have an army.
If we all do it together, we will change the world.
It's worth it. Please go see it. The producers and the directors have done an incredible job in getting the movie out there. I'm sure it's difficult to do a movie like that. But I have one comment. It's not really a criticism, it's more a comment. We need 6, 7 other movies like the Bully movie. Because if we had that, we would be able to have all these different scenarios. Because in the Bully movie, we have 2 suicide boys, Ty and Tyler, which is really sad. Tyler is the youngest suicide that I know of. He was a boy of 11. Yeah. You don't even understand that they would think of suicide at that age. Tyler is 17, and then there is a young girl in the movie who happens to be gay. And again, the statistics show that gay people are bullied 95% more than the rest of children in schools.
And what do, being in school, what do educators do when this is happening? What do you think, or the administrators, are they schooled in this, or do they know how to really handle the problems that are going on?
I think we need programs out there. And the first program that I was promoting here during my tour is the bullyacademy.org. They have done a software with quizzes for middle schools. So that's really great. I think they're already in 900 schools today. So that is great, but I do not know of systems in place at this moment in North America that truly addresses the educator, and we need that. I would almost like to not only talk to the students, but then have sessions with the administrators and the teachers.
Yeah, I think it's a twofold. It's a two-way street. You have to have the person that is being abused, and then you have to have the people that know how to handle it, like yourself.
But the children seem to relate to people like me, and I think it's because we're not there for any other reason than to share pain, basically. And by doing that, I've seen the children be so receptive. But again, heartbreaking, because what are you going to do when every child comes up to you with a dilemma, with an issue? There's almost not enough. You need a sort of forum out there that is safe enough where people like me and other speakers could have a sort of interaction with them. There needs to be more follow-up. There's not enough follow-up.
And then how would they get the resources to, like someone like you, how would the resources come to these people to help them? Obviously, you have a movie. We're going to talk about your book in a little bit. But, I mean, how do you think this could be paid for? Or
honestly, I don't know the answer, but I have heard some discussions during this 3-week tour. And one of the things that I actually learned that I didn't know in Phoenix, I might be working with a charter schools.
Okay.
Is that there are companies like AT&T and other companies that donate $300,000, $400,000. But then again, we need the people in place with the tools.
Right.
Not just the money. We need the tools too. And we need the follow-up. I wouldn't want to only see a program and then say bye-bye, and then the children are still stuck.
Right.
Because we need to know that if we have the resources, if there actually a change within the school structure.
Right.
Because it's all about acceptance.
It is totally about acceptance. You know, what would be the advice that you'd give parents of their child was being bullied, like in this school system, what we're talking about? How would you talk to a parent?
Well, there's a huge problem already. The child usually does not want to talk to the parents at all. I wouldn't want to talk to my mother. So I can imagine that any child today doesn't want to go through the humiliation twice. But if you're a parent out there, watch your children. You should notice. There's always something that you notice. There is a slight change. There is isolation. The child will retract totally. And between the isolation and the hopelessness, there is a period of time where this child will turn quieter and quieter, and we really need to watch for that.
So in other words, the child will just start going within, maybe doing drugs or just...
I think it isolates itself as much as it can because you go through all these stages of feelings and emotions. I mean, first, I hear a lot of children, a lot of students, any age, saying that when they go through that, in the beginning, they let the bullying go on because they have hope. They actually have hope that it changes. And that usually doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. And then you go into isolation. So I think it's hope first, isolation, and then I would actually like to finish by saying it's like hopelessness.
Oh, it's amazing.
And somewhere in between there, the parents, and I understand this, we all have 2 jobs, we all have to juggle. And so it's hard for the parents to watch day after day. And cyberbullying, on top of it, we as parents, I didn't grow up with Facebook, so it's hard for parents to do that, but we need to check.
Let's talk about that. That's a pretty interesting and a vast network. Oh, how is, give me an example how somebody actually would cyber bully. Tell me, how is that done?
I have no experience with it, but
nor have I.
My only experience is what the students tell me, and they tell me nonstop that it is about the anonymity. How do you say that
anonymity?
word? That's the word. I'll get there.
That's okay.
I was going to say it in French otherwise.
That's okay. That would have been great too.
And they think that the child cannot be punished, that the bully cannot be punished. And I'm saying in schools, they can. There is no such thing. IP addresses can be found. But the rotten part is if someone bullies me, only, and it's direct, only my entire environment will see it. Now, if I get bullied on cyberspace, I have no idea how many people see this. It goes viral. It goes outside of my country. And so thousands of people see that. And that's where the child, I think, really suffers because they know this.
What advice would you give a kid who's being bullied by cyberspace?
Cyberspace, you got to go to someone immediately. Report that. And I know of a program, I happen to know of a program in Canada, which is actually an American program. But I know Deborah Bose has a program out there where cyberbullying is checked. So every friendship that comes in, it's double checked if it's a real email address, if it's not just something else. But a lot of parents don't want to put it into place because they think it's spying. But the only thing that the system does is actually eradicate those hateful words. So from, I'm just going to say something, from Paki to whether it's nigger, whether it's chink, all those racist words that children use with each other. And half of them I don't even know, they're all new to me. And it looks for that.
Right.
So I think it's not checking up on your children. It's actually pure safety.
So what would be the message that you'd want to leave us and our viewers? What would be the message there that you'd want to leave?
The first message is become an active witness. What I mean by that, we're all bystanders. We're all part of this. So if you see bullying happening around you, you're part of it. Don't go to a principal and say, I didn't see anything, I didn't do anything, because it's not true. Just by you standing there, you were present, and you can become an active witness. I know you're sometimes scared because of peer pressure, but believe it, you can make a difference in another human being's life just by getting closer to the victim and by not letting that person isolate themselves and stand there all alone.
You know, and finally, I want to talk about your book.
Okay.
I love the title. It's With All My Might. And tell the viewers about your book. And I can't wait to actually read it myself. But tell me about what this book means to you and what it means for people who will read it.
I wrote the book with all my might because I feel that we all have that might inside of us. We all have a deep strength. We just keep forgetting that we have it. And I wrote it because I've been fearful my entire childhood. I was always scared to be sent back to the orphanage, always scared of other kids, had to pretend to be Dutch, blue-eyed and blonde, and as you can see on television, I'm not. And so all these things accumulated, and I said, the story is unique, the emotions are definitely not, but they resonate with everyone, because at one point in your life, you feel that you don't belong to a group, to school, to your partner, your husband, or your parents. At that moment, my message is really clear. It's okay not to belong. I have one leg in the East and one in the West, and it's okay to do that.
Wow, that is really excellent what you just said. That I have a friend from the East Coast, and when he calls, we go, hey, this is East Coast, this is West Coast. I can't wait to read this book. You're absolutely fabulous. I loved your card, what you gave. And is it okay if I read, or would you like to read it? Would you like to read what you say in your card right here?
My card says, I dare to live, I dare to love, I dare to give, I dare to be passionate with all of me. It's my slogan because I think that if we can actually dig deep and find the passion and bring it out there, everyone will benefit. And nobody will ever bully you again if you show your own passion, because they will actually have respect for that. And they'll be actually astonished.
Gabrielle, thank you so much for being our guest. You're absolutely wonderful. One of the things that we do on Harmonics is that we give a kiss out to all of our friends. And so what I'd like you to do, I would like to give a kiss out to all the people who have been bullied and send our love to them. And can you do that with me?
I can.
Okay. Well, this is Gabriella and Gregory Correa from Harmonics, a special edition. We'd like to thank Gabrielle. Thank you so much for coming. And we're going to give a kiss out to all the people who have been bullied, and we're giving our love to all of you. Here we go.